Episode 2, The Morning After. Alexandra Morrison woke at 6:30 on Saturday morning with the kind of headache that came from too much wine and not enough sleep. Pale October light filtered through the gauze curtains of her Southwark loft, illuminating the exposed brick walls and the case files she'd abandoned on her dining table the night before. The Thornton fraud case, the leak, Richard's warning about protecting herself, and Marcus Ashford. She rolled onto her back, staring at the ceiling beams while her phone buzzed insistently on the nightstand. 3 messages from Natasha, 2 from Sophie, and 1 from a number she didn't recognize but suspected belonged to Marcus. She'd given him her number at the end of the night, scrawled on a napkin with unsteady hands, while her friends watched with varying degrees of approval and concern. The unknown number's message was simple. "Still on for tonight? There's a place in Shoreditch I think you'll like." Alex closed her eyes. In the harsh light of morning, with her head pounding and her professional crisis looming, the idea of dinner with Marcus felt both thrilling and terrifying. She thought of Emma's bitter comments about men like him. She thought of Natasha's protective concern. She thought of her own reflection in the pub's window last night, the want in her eyes, the vulnerability she'd tried to hide. She typed back, "Still on. What time?" His response came within seconds. 7. I'll text you the address." Alex set the phone down and forced herself out of bed, coffee first. Then she'd deal with the fact that she was apparently doing this, dating a man whose reputation suggested he'd break her heart as efficiently as he repaired others. By 9 o'clock, Alex was in her Chambers office, the coffee doing little to ease her headache but at least making her feel functional. Morrison and Blackwood occupied the 4th floor of a converted Victorian building in Holborn, all dark wood paneling and floor-to-ceiling bookshelves that gave the impression of permanence and tradition. Her office overlooked Chancery Lane, the view obscured today by low clouds threatening rain. She'd come in on a Saturday because Richard had texted at 7 asking her to meet him at 10. The leak investigation. She knew it was serious when he requested a weekend meeting. The Thornton case files spread across her desk told a story of meticulous fraud. Shell companies, falsified invoices, money moved through offshore accounts with the kind of sophistication that required insider knowledge. Alex had spent 3 months building the prosecution's case, working 18-hour days to trace every transaction. And now, someone was feeding information to Jeremy Thornton's defense team. Information that could only have come from inside Chambers. Her phone buzzed. "So, are you seeing him tonight?" "Yes. I'm happy for you. I'm also terrified. He's going to hurt you. Maybe, or maybe I'll hurt him first. That's not funny. Wasn't meant to be." She set the phone aside as footsteps approached down the corridor. Richard Morrison appeared in her doorway, looking older than his 58 years in the morning light. He wore weekend casual, dark jeans and a navy sweater, but his expression was pure senior partner. "Alex?" He closed the door behind him and settled into the chair across from her desk. "Thank you for coming in." "Of course." She straightened, pushing aside the case files. "What have you found?" Richard's jaw tightened. "Nothing definitive yet, but the pattern is clear. 3 separate instances over the past month where privileged information made its way to Thornton's team. The most recent was Thursday, details about your witness interview with the CFO." Alex felt her stomach drop. That interview was confidential. Only you, me, and Sarah had access to those notes. Sarah Winters was the junior barrister assisting on the case, 26 and hungry to prove herself. Alex had mentored her for the past year, trusted her with sensitive work. "I know." Richard's tone was careful. "I'm not suggesting Sarah is involved, but we need to consider all possibilities." "She wouldn't." Alex heard the defensiveness in her voice. "Sarah's brilliant and completely dedicated. She has no reason to sabotage this case. People always have reasons, Alex. Money, ambition, personal grievances we know nothing about." Richard leaned forward. "I need you to be objective here. This leak could destroy the case and damage the firm's reputation. We can't afford sentiment." Alex met his gaze. Richard had been her mentor since she joined Chambers 7 years ago, fresh from her pupillage and desperate to prove herself. He'd guided her career, championed her for silk, treated her like the daughter he'd never had. but he was also ruthless when the firm's interests were at stake. "What do you want me to do?" she asked. "Monitor Sarah's communications, check her access logs, and if you notice anything at all that seems off, you tell me immediately." He paused. "I know this is difficult, but protecting the firm means protecting your career too. If this case falls apart because of a leak from our chambers, the fallout will affect everyone, especially you as lead counsel." Alex nodded slowly, feeling the weight of what he was asking. Spy on her protégée, suspect someone she'd trusted, become complicit in an investigation that could ruin Sarah's career if she was innocent or destroy her own if she failed to act. "I'll do what needs to be done," she said finally. Richard stood, his expression softening slightly. "I know you will. That's why you're one of the best barristers in London." He moved toward the door, then paused. "How are you holding up otherwise? Natasha mentioned you've been working yourself ragged." "I'm fine." The automatic response, delivered with practiced ease. Richard studied her for a long moment. "You know, when I was your age, I thought work was everything. Built my entire life around this firm. It cost me my marriage, my relationship with my son, years I can't get back." His voice was quiet. "Don't make the same mistake, Alex. Success means nothing if you're alone." He left before she could respond, his footsteps fading down the corridor. Alex sat in the silence of her office, surrounded by case files and leather-bound law books, and wondered if she was already too late to take his advice. By 6 o'clock that evening, Alex stood in her bedroom trying to decide what to wear for a date she still wasn't sure she should be going on. She'd spent the afternoon reviewing Sarah's access logs and found nothing suspicious, which should have been reassuring, but only made her feel guilty for looking in the first place. Her phone buzzed with Marcus's text. "Bistro Freddie, 14 Curtin Road. See you at 7? She Googled the restaurant while pulling a black silk blouse from her closet. Bistro Freddie was intimate and expensive, the kind of place that suggested this was more than casual. She paired the blouse with dark jeans and heeled boots, going for effortlessly sophisticated while her heart hammered against her ribs. Natasha called as she was applying lipstick. "Just checking you're still alive and haven't talked yourself out of this." "I'm going," Alex said, phone wedged between ear and shoulder. "Good. You deserve something that isn't about work." A pause. "Just be careful, okay? I know I keep saying it, but Marcus has a pattern. 3 months, 6 months maximum, then he's gone. I don't want you to be another casualty. I'm going into this with eyes open, Nat. I'm not expecting forever." "That's what worries me." "You're expecting nothing, which means you won't protect yourself when it matters." Alex finished her lipstick, studying her reflection. "Maybe I don't want to protect myself. Maybe I'm tired of being safe." Natasha sighed. "Call me tomorrow. I want details." "I'm not giving you details." "Then at least tell me you survived." Alex ended the call and grabbed her coat, refusing to let herself think about all the reasons this was a mistake. She'd spent 3 years being careful, being guarded, keeping everyone at arm's length. Maybe it was time to risk something. Bistro Freddie was tucked on a Shoreditch side street, its exterior unassuming, but its interior warm and glowing with Edison bulbs and exposed brick. Marcus was already there when Alex arrived, seated at a corner table with a bottle of wine breathing between candles. He stood when he saw her, and the smile that crossed his face made her stomach flip. "You came," he said, as if he genuinely doubted she would. "I said I would." Alex slid into the seat across from him, hyper-aware of how small the table was, how their knees almost touched beneath it. Marcus poured wine, a burgundy that probably cost more than her monthly tube pass. "I wasn't sure. You seemed conflicted last night." "I was. I am." Alex took a sip, the wine rich and complex on her tongue. "Your reputation precedes you." "Ah!" Marcus leaned back, candlelight playing across his features. "Let me guess. Daniel told you I'm commitment phobic and you should run while you can." Actually, it was Natasha, but the sentiment was similar. "And yet you're here." "And yet I'm here." Alex held his gaze. "Why did you ask me out, Marcus? You must know this is complicated. Our friends, the history, the fact that I'm not looking for casual." "Who said I'm offering casual?" His voice was soft but serious. "Maybe I'm tired of casual. Maybe I saw something last night that made me want to take a risk." "You barely know me." I know you're brilliant and guarded and scared of wanting something. I know you work too hard and smile too little. I know when you do smile, really smile, it changes your entire face. He reached across the table, fingers brushing hers. I know I haven't stopped thinking about you since Daniel introduced us 3 months ago. Alex's breath caught. 3 months? I've been working up the courage. You're intimidating, in case you hadn't noticed. She laughed, surprising herself. I'm intimidating? You're a cardiothoracic surgeon who looks like you stepped out of a menswear catalog. And you're a barrister who could argue me into the ground without breaking a sweat. Marcus's thumb traced circles on her wrist, the touch sending electricity up her arm. So maybe we're evenly matched. The waiter appeared to take their order, and the moment broke. But as they talked through dinner, about his fellowship, her cases, the absurdity of London property prices, the books they'd loved and hated, Alex felt something unfamiliar loosening in her chest. This ease, this connection, this sense that she could be herself without armor. It terrified her. By dessert, Marcus was telling her about his sister's upcoming wedding in Edinburgh, and Alex was laughing at his impression of his mother's horror over the non-traditional venue. The restaurant had filled around them, the noise level rising, but their corner felt separate, intimate. Can I ask you something? Marcus said, his tone shifting to something more serious. Depends on the question. Why did your engagement end? Alex's smile faded. She'd known the question would come eventually, but it still felt like a punch to the sternum. That's a hell of a first date question. We've been on the first date for 3 hours. I think we're into second date territory by now. She took a long sip of wine, considering how much to tell him. His name was David. We met at Oxford, got engaged after 5 years together. He was everything I thought I wanted. Ambitious, successful, from a good family. We had the whole future planned out. What happened? Alex's fingers tightened on her wine glass. I found out he'd been sleeping with his colleague for the last year of our relationship. Apparently, I was too focused on my career, too cold, too ambitious. He needed someone who actually wanted him. The words tasted bitter, even 3 years later. The worst part wasn't the affair. It was that he was right. I had been putting work first. I'd convinced myself that's what successful people did. Sacrifice relationships for career. And when it all fell apart, I realized I didn't know how to be anything else. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. That's not coldness, Alex. That's self-protection. And he was an idiot for not seeing the difference. Was he, though? I haven't had a serious relationship since. Haven't wanted one. Haven't trusted anyone enough to try. Until now? Alex met his eyes. I don't know what this is yet. Neither do I. Marcus reached across the table again, this time taking her hand fully in his. But I'd like to find out. If you're willing to risk it. She should say no. Should protect herself. Should remember that Marcus Ashford had a reputation for leaving, and she'd barely survived being left once before. But his hand was warm in hers, and his eyes held something that looked like genuine want, and she was so tired of being safe. I'm willing, she said quietly. Marcus paid the bill despite her protests, and they stepped out into the October night. Shoreditch was alive with Saturday crowds, but the side street was relatively quiet. Marcus walked her toward the main road where she could catch a cab, and Alex was acutely aware of how close he was, how her body responded to his proximity. At the corner, he turned to face her. Can I see you again? Tomorrow? Tomorrow's Sunday. Don't you have hospital rounds? Not until evening. We could do brunch, or a walk along the Thames if you're feeling virtuous. Alex smiled. Brunch sounds good. Good. Marcus stepped closer, and Alex's heart rate kicked up. He was going to kiss her. She could see the intention in his eyes, feel the electricity in the space between them. And she wanted it, wanted him, with an intensity that should have terrified her. His hand came up to cup her face, thumb brushing her cheekbone. Tell me if this is too fast. It's too fast, she whispered. Do it anyway. Marcus kissed her slowly, thoroughly, with the kind of focused attention that suggested he'd been thinking about this for far longer than tonight. Alex's hands fisted in his coat, pulling him closer, and for a moment the street disappeared. The world narrowed to the taste of wine on his lips and the heat of his body against hers. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Marcus rested his forehead against hers. Christ, Alex. She laughed shakily. Yeah, tomorrow, 10 o'clock. I'll text you where. Okay. He kissed her once more, quick and sweet, then flagged down a passing cab. Alex slid into the back seat in a daze, watching through the window as Marcus stood on the corner, hands in his pockets, watching her leave. The cab pulled away, and Alex leaned back against the seat, fingers touching her lips. She'd done it. She'd risked something, and it felt both exhilarating and terrifying in equal measure. Her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. You should be more careful about who you trust, Miss Morrison. Some secrets have a way of coming out. Alex stared at the message, her euphoria evaporating. The leak. Someone knew she was investigating. Someone was watching. She looked out the cab window at the passing streets, suddenly feeling exposed. Somewhere in London, someone was feeding information to Jeremy Thornton's defense team. Someone who knew her movements, her cases, her vulnerabilities, and they just made it personal.
Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures. Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures.